Hey guys, welcome to the Mike Lenoci Show. This week we don't have Anthony. Hey guys, welcome back to the Mike Lenoci Show. I'm excited. We don't have... I don't know how to start because I don't have Anthony here. I'm alone. We got a lot of fun things to go in this week. I got a lot of traveling coming up. I got a lot of, shows coming up. Make sure if you are a stand-up comedy fan to check my website, michaellenoci.com. A lot of fun shows coming up, over 25 cities. Get your tickets. Everything's on sale now. We got football season right around the corner. Still some free agents out there. We don't know where they're going to land. We're hoping, Dolphin fans hoping for Cook. Basketball fans, we're hoping for Lillard. Miami Heat fans. Hopkins did sign with Tennessee tonight, which is a win for me because I didn't want him going to the Patriots. I didn't want him going to the division. Anthony's not here this week to defend that. I'll bet you he's a little bit upset about that. But I do have Ryan Goldsher. He's a very funny young comedian. I've grown to like him, and we've become friends over the last couple years. He likes to talk sports. He's got 3 favorite teams. It's weird. I don't agree with it, but we're going to have him on shortly here. But I kind of just want to go into, what's right around the corner. I mean, we're in late July. So you could expect August 1st. Let me look right here. We got basically Thursday night. No, where's the preseason game? There is. The Hall of Fame game is literally Thursday, August 3rd. I know that's nothing. I know the Hall of Fame game is nothing, but it's a Thursday. We're a little over 2 weeks away from the Hall of Fame game, which is the Browns and Jets. I know it's nothing, but it's cool to see 2 teams on the field. It's the beginning of something. It's if you're on a date, it's going on a date. That's what it is. It's the Jets and Browns, and it's a Hall of Fame game, and nobody cares. You're not going to see any players you know. It's a bunch of guys chasing their dreams, but it's equivalent to matching with a girl on a dating app and you're going on a date. It's getting started. You're almost there. You can feel it. You're excited. The adrenaline is rushing. The blood is flowing. And things are going to start happening. Drama with teams. You get also, that's going to be the start of Hard Knocks. You get Hard Knocks. You got to watch Quarterback on Netflix. That's great. But then you're going to hear drama. There's going to be a little, hopefully there's none. Hopefully there's no injuries. There's always some injuries in preseason, but it's become less and less because coaches look, we only have 2 games, right? No, there's still 3 games. There's 3 games, and I expect this to be the last year of 3 games. I expect there to be only 2 games in the preseason, and I think that starts next year if I'm not mistaken. So you have 3 preseason games this year, which is, which becomes down to like literally 1 game, 1 half of some of the starters playing. And I think it's kind of agreed around the league that they don't play super hard. Obviously, you got guys trying to make the team, but it's just going through the motions and not making decisions don't matter as much. It's exciting for Dolphin fans. It's the second year in an offense. Tua's first time having a second-year offense in his career. We're right around the corner. Did you guys get NFL Ticket on YouTube TV? I already did that months ago. But we're right around the corner, and it's exciting. Got some stand-up stories coming our way, but we're going to get in there right now with Ryan. Let's bring him on. He's been a guest on here before. Obviously, we restructured the page when I had it as Dolphins Dynasty, I believe. But we're bringing him on here for the first time on episode 4. This is episode 4 of the Mike Lenoci Show. And a lot more guests coming up and a lot more, comedians coming on here and sharing their perspective. So I'm excited about that. And I told you I was going to deliver that. And let's get into it right now. We're going to bring on Ryan Goldsher, the very hilarious Ryan Goldsher. Way different background. It looks like you got your life together a little bit. What is up? You moved.
Yeah.
And
are we starting right now, by the way?
We could start. This can be it.
Perfect. I moved to a nicer neighborhood with a bigger room, and now my background is not like the corner of a small bedroom.
I don't necessarily remember what the background was, but I know that right now it looks like you're a grown up, which is
I'm,
which is odd because if people don't know you, you're a childlike grown up.
uh, yeah, is
No,
that right, or am I grown up like child?
yeah, you're probably more like that. You're kind of like you're like Russell Crowe in Beautiful Mind.
That's horrific. Yeah. So you did one of my favorite sets I've literally ever seen
Oh, really?
when you came on. Someone dropped out at the. You
At
weren't even
the
supposed to perform.
at the end of the
Someone dropped
improv
out, and you went on last at the
after Drew
improv.
Lynch.
You didn't do any material. You just roasted every comedian that went up, including me. And you said, someone goes, "Oh, Ryan," and you go, "Oh, Ryan. Well, he's Rain Man. He's." He said, You're like he dresses like an old man."
He does. He dresses like an old man. You can't see it, but he wears Velcro shoes, which I don't even. Do I have them in my closet still? They just, I bought a pair because I saw him wearing. I go, oh, that looks fun. It didn't. It wasn't. It just didn't go with what I do.
What? You gave up on it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna wear them out. I mean,
You wear them in.
Ryan, you can't wear white Velcro shoes. Like people are gonna. They already assume I'm on the spectrum. They're gonna assume even more. They're gonna be like, "What?" And then like the thing is, yours is even worse because, like when someone talks to you, they're like, "Oh, this is an intelligent kid," because he looks very young. But I believe you're almost 30. Correct me if
No,
I'm
I'm
wrong.
26.
Okay, so not even. So he still is a kid. But when you speak to him, you're like, okay, he's definitely a smart guy. Borderline, like, is he on the spec? And then when you look at his shoes, you see that they're Velcro shoes, but they're so dirty. Like it's like he's had them for 4 years.
I did get new ones this year, but they're still pretty dirty.
It's the most Forrest Gump looking shoes I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it's a little specky. I'm definitely.
Like that can't go well in your dating life.
No, it's actually like there's literally instances where it's hurt. Like a girl's literally said like, "I like everything you're wearing, except what the hell are those?" It was like that was my old dirty.
But you
New
laugh.
Balances.
You kind of laugh and you go, "Well, yeah, I'm doing it to be funny, right?"
Yeah, that's what I say. But at this point, I've set up too many obstacles for myself. So it's like it would be fine if like that was the only thing. But then there's like I don't have an iPhone. That's a huge
Oh
thing.
yeah, yeah. What am I always notice that. I'm like, dude, there's a certain amount of guys in the comedy community that don't have iPhones, and you guys are all similar.
Like Ian Edwards. You're saying I'm
Ian
similar to Ian
Edwards,
Edwards?
Ari Manis, and you.
I've never met Ari Manis. What's Ari Manis's vibe?
He's a really nice guy. And the thing is, I feel more human with you, but I've known Ari my whole career. And I've had real conversations with Ari, but then sometimes I'm with Ari and I'm like, is this a real conversation? I don't know necessarily. Or sometimes he commits to a bit and I'm like, well, you're saying that as a joke. And he goes, no, I believe that. I go, you don't believe that. Like he'll say something so off-putting or like, like what I'm saying on stage, I don't mean, but I say I cross the line. He crosses the line off stage in conversation. And then you're like, haha, you're joking. He's like, no, I'm serious. And you're like, okay, just whatever. If that's the bit you want to do. And he's like, this isn't a bit. That's how I feel. And you're like, all right, well, just don't say that out loud when I'm around you. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I don't know what to do in those situations. It's really uncomfortable.
Does that happen with you and other comedians?
Well, I mean, kind of. I mean, so I met Whitney for the first time 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
We did a show together, and she told me I was awkward because I was like, she's like
first of all, she's awkward.
Buster.
She's yes. I mean, she's an alpha female.
Yeah.
And she's used to being around, guy comics that are busting balls. But she's awkward. She was the awkward one.
I just like I was like, hey, I'm hosting tonight. Like, nice to meet you. And she's I was like, where are you from? She's like, I'm from DC. I'm like, oh, I'm from Chicago. And then I kind of just like went on my phone and sat down.
Yeah.
And then someone that knew me came in and was like, hey, and they're like, oh, Ryan does impressions. And she's like, oh, is that why you're so awkward? And I was like, don't know what to say to
But
that.
nothing was awkward. You just introduced yourself.
It wasn't comfortable. I didn't
when
make
you
it comfortable.
when you met her.
Yeah, I don't like to be like, I'm not the loudest person in the room. I don't like to like, I was like, hey, where are you from? She's like, I'm from DC. And I was like, okay, cool. Nice to meet you. Excited for the show. And I kind of just sat down.
Yeah, and I think that's normal, but it's also like you don't know her.
Exactly.
And also there's a sense of like even when I was coming up in comedy, I still feel that way. Like if I had to approach a situation where I have to approach Louis C.K. or Bill Burr or something, like I still would be like, all right, like I don't want to like overdo it, but like once I get comfortable, sure. But like I don't know what you're supposed to do in that situation.
No,
I mean, you're not gonna like.
Met those guys?
I've met Bill a few times. I've had a beer with him, but he wouldn't remember.
Damn.
Years ago in Madison, me, him, and Fahim, and why am I blanking on the other comedian's name? Yeah, and it was awesome. And then I saw him like a month later, and he goes, "Yeah, we met, right?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Show?
Yeah. And then
What do we do?
And then after that, yeah.
What do we do together?
Yeah. Well, that's like a little Biden.
We're first. What do we do together? Yeah, I got that. He's like Joe Rogan met Biden. It's like
it's just, but I knew that I was like, oh, I'd have to keep being around him for him to fully remember me, and that's
for him to like you.
Well, listen, man, you can't control if someone's gonna like you. That's one thing I've learned in this business.
I don't know. I even when I met you for the first time, I didn't say anything. I was like,
don't even remember when it was.
Jam in the Van, old Jam in the Van.
Oh, during pandemic.
Jam in the Van. We did 2 shows together, and I didn't say anything until the second show, where I think you made fun of my shoes then as well.
Because they're the same shoes. Do you wear the same shoes you were wearing at that time?
I recently got a new pair. In the last 6 months, I got a new pair of the same exact
white
shoe.
Velcro shoes.
All white Velcro New Balance.
And that's what you're going to commit to for the rest of your life.
I like it. I did get another pair of shoe. I got the Nigel Houstons.
Someone along the way is going to buy you a pair of Jordans.
Jonathan Kite was going to buy me Jordans. He didn't do it.
Well, I'm not going to say I would, but if I was ever in a situation where I was on the road with you and I was making a lot of money, I would do that for you. But I feel like at this point, you'll beat me there. So we'll go because you started headlining.
First headline show was on Thursday.
In Tempe.
Tempe Improv.
And that was cool. That's a cool. First of all, Thursday night's great. It's summer school. So by the way, to throw information out there for you, summer is the hardest time to sell tickets. So just
there or just anywhere?
Anywhere. Just some people are traveling. They want to be outside, enjoy. Like in the winter, everyone's like, I'm cold. I want to be inside.
Oh,
it's easier to. Fall kills for comedy. Spring, summer is usually a little bit harder. So keep that in mind when you're doing shows. Like, don't get in your head about stuff. I know we talked about that, and I was like, dude, this is the new. You leveled up. When you level up, there's now more things to get stressed out about.
That was good advice because I have, I have leveled up a couple times. Like you level up from open mic to book shows.
Yeah.
And even that was like stressful. And then you level up from small shows to comedy club shows. And then from comedy club shows to now I'm headlining and like everything. Like, dude, that's like your whole message with nothing's easy.
No, you have to consistently start to work even harder and harder. Like 3 years ago, I was playing video games a lot more, and I haven't touched it in months because I just haven't had time. And even if I think about it, like today it crossed my mind. I was like, oh, it'd be fun to play video games. And I'm like, well, I can't because I'll have to edit this. And then even after that, I'll have to edit something else. And then by then I got to go to sleep. So it's just like
no step of the way is easy, but the progress is like, the thing is like, it doesn't feel like progress, but it is. It's like now I'm just working hard in a new area and I have new worries.
It's funny. It's exciting when you see but I just had an epiphany. I think maybe I don't. Maybe that's not the right word. But like as we were just talking, I was like, have I even taken a second to enjoy this, or am I just constantly like? It just feels like I am right now. Like I was just thinking, I was like,
your last post, which was awesome, which you had like all those highlights. I thought that was sort of enjoying it, or was that not enjoying it? You had so many like cool moments in your post about like here's.
I mean, but that was like there was some cool, but like I also put like things in there like homecoming,
Yeah, that's cool.
picture. Yeah, I was just kind of like I wanted it to be in the theme of what the tour was called. Nothing goes as planned. Like,
yeah.
Clearly, mentally, I had so many different goals along the way, and that's what I wanted to show. If maybe it came off that way, it showed me as a kid playing karate, then me as an adult doing it, and then like
your photo is epic with that haircut.
Yeah, oh yeah, then like me in school, like you know what I mean, like that was 95, bro. That's how people looked.
I don't know if everyone looked like that. You look like the way that I look now with like, hey, does this kid, is he okay? Is he with it?
I can't, you know what it is? Both of my parents were foreign and they just didn't know that wasn't cool. And my older sister didn't help me out. She could have helped out a little bit and been like, hey, this is how, the cool kids are dressing. You
definitely look like
how they look.
Like a kid named Giuseppe or something.
Yeah. Well, just like,
this is Giuseppe from Italy. Like he doesn't know any better.
I was trying to like have a cool, a cool looking, I don't know. I just thought everybody had the parted hair back then. Trust me when I say it. Everybody had parted hair. Mine just didn't. Mine looked more like a penis because I was short and fatter.
You were short?
I was a late bloomer, yeah.
No, wait. You're like 6'2", 6'1"?
No. But thank you.
You just have a big presence?
5'11" with shoes.
No way.
Yeah.
For those listening at home, he has a big presence. He gives off. You give off tall.
You.
Compared to me,
maybe I walk.
How tall do you think I am? Which is always funny for me.
I know how tall you are. You're 5'8".
How tall what number do you think that is?
5'8".
No.
5'9".
I'm 5. I'm over 5'9".
So we're the same height, you think?
I'm
5'11" with
round me up to 10 and you down to 11.
Okay.
But no, I'm like 5'9" and a half. You're like, I thought you're way taller than 5'11".
That's a fun psychological thing right there. Have you ever seen
I give
that?
Off such shorter energy.
Well, or you know what? That will go a long way though. I mean, people like Anthony Jeselnik were like that. I never.
He gives off short energy?
No, I mean, he's very tall, but I'm saying I don't think like he was not an approachable person. I'm not saying that you're not approachable, but I think at the time he had success, so it made him more like if you're as successful as Anthony, there's not a lot of people who are going to approach you.
No.
And it's not that you're a mean guy. You're just a quiet guy, and then that's going to intimidate the younger comics and people who are pursuing the art. They're going to be like, well, it just seems like, if that makes sense.
Like he's on a different level. I mean, but it doesn't help that he is an intimidating guy. I've met him and he's like, I've been in the room with him for a lot of time, and I'm always like waiting for him to say something so I don't have to say
And he never does.
First. He's scary. You've known him for his whole career, right?
I've known who he is, but I never was really, maybe throughout the early years of my career, maybe was in agreement with him like less than 5 or 6 times to where, and now regularly I see him a lot. Like we say hi, and like what I was going to bring up to you, 13 years of comedy, I didn't have a full on conversation with him till last year. And then I was like, oh,
Crazy.
this guy's like me. He's just
I think he's
different.
Like one of the most normal comedians I've met.
Yeah, I mean, he like thinks the same way we all do. He just doesn't speak it as much.
Yeah.
And then he's sarcastic in conversation. He'll bust balls a little bit, but I mean, maybe he's just not as warm to do it with, people who aren't his peers, so to speak. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's something I've worked on a lot in the last few years of being like, oh, just like, let's make sure everyone's having a fun time, or like not being a dick.
You're a good green room guy.
I feel like maybe I had a reputation going the other way for a little bit, but now I'm like, I said it today. I was thinking about it today because I had some uncomfortable interactions in Austin last week, and I was just like, comedy is fun, right? It's fun to do. It's fun to pursue. It's hard to pursue. But for me, going back to the epiphany part I was just talking about with you earlier, I don't want to get off track, but like I was sitting there going, what is the most fulfilling part for me? You know, it's obviously coming up with a new idea and having it consistently work and work really well on stage. But outside of that, like posting about, oh, hey, I'm doing this tour. It's like, yeah, all right, cool. I did that. Like, I'm proud of it, but I'm not like, it doesn't feel like I won a championship. Like,
you think you'll feel that way when it ends?
I don't know. I don't know, because that's not the part that, like, the easy part is going forward. The hard part was putting it together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like there's any pressure. The pressure is like, now you're worried about selling tickets, but like, you know, when you watch an athlete and they win a championship and they get emotional and they cry and they're cheering, you're like, okay, that's awesome. Like, I haven't, there's not that same feeling. You know what I mean? Now going back.
Yeah, I'm definitely thinking, and like, cause this was my first headline show, and I was like, you know, when I'm a kid, I was like, there's one day I'll headline, and that day was Thursday.
Yeah.
And I was like, I honestly didn't enjoy it that much. There was no championship feeling.
That's what I'm saying.
I crushed it. No, I was like, I had a heckler the whole time.
You told me that. The whole time. 45 minutes. You did how long? 45?
I was supposed to do 45. I did 56.
Great. Well, you can do more than 45.
Yeah. But like, I didn't feel like I should have felt so good. Like, oh my God, I did it. I'm headlining. I sold tickets. I did an hour, but I was just like only focused on like, oh man, that was rough. Like some bits didn't work.
I'll bet you part of that was more in your head. Like, I'll bet you people came up to you after the show and were like, hey, we really enjoyed it. Right?
100%. Yeah. I got a bunch of followers and messages. The club invited me back.
That's amazing.
They said next year, come back. Let's do it again. And I was like, yeah. So it is objectively good, but yeah, I didn't have that championship feeling.
I get like that sometimes too. On stage, I'm like I felt like I was fighting my way through the set and wasn't connecting in some parts, and felt like I was just doing things to make sure that they were having fun. Right? That's kind of.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
Wait, what happened in Austin? You were saying you said it was awkward.
Okay, so like my whole thing of like what I took away from that was like, you know, comedy is, it's like we're having fun, we're having a good time, and like there's also people in comedy who are like, no, we don't want you to have a fun time, and you're like, well, why? I want to have a fun time, and they're like, because if you have a fun time, then I won't have fun because I know you're having fun. And you're like, what world is this? That's the only world where someone's like, no, you can't have fun because then I won't have fun because you're having fun. It's like, why can't we all have fun? Because there's not enough room or stage time or there's just not enough for all of us to have fun. Yeah, there is. There's enough for everyone to have fun. So Why are we all stopping people from having fun in this business? That's literally what this business is. It's a bunch of people in situations where they have power to not make people have fun.
Yeah, they won't get people to come to. They won't promote the show, so no more people come. They won't like give you what you need so the show goes well.
Or they won't put you on a show. They're like, nah, I don't mess with, like, it's not my style. You're like, okay, which is like. But that person's still going to have fun if they were on it, or they don't, or someone just doesn't like you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was going to talk about this on my solo pod. Like, obviously I want to go into a little sports with you stuff too, because we theme it like that. But I also, you know, I've talked about on here having comedians on here and we go in and out. But the whole thing of Austin is built. It was built by Joe Rogan, and everything he's done for comedy is actually pretty incredible. It's great. He gives a lot. He gives back to comedy more than any other comedian really has in history, outside of like Johnny Carson. Like I wasn't around back then, but it seemed like he was having a lot on. And then Letterman had a lot of comics on. It doesn't seem like a lot of people do late night anymore. It's not as relevant, so it doesn't really. It's like, who cares? Yeah. Maybe you just do it to say you did it. But now it seems like he's ultimately helped a lot of people. I mean, you could name a dozen comedians that he's helped launch their career, arguably, right? If not
100%.
more. Plus the beautiful club he's opened. But that club he built is in Austin, not New York or LA, where it's kind of like there's a unspoken rule. There's a lot of stage time. Everyone, if you're not like somewhere, you can go somewhere else. Where in Austin, it's like this is the mothership. And there are some clubs around there, but it's like you got the mothership, which is equivalent to an improv, comedy store, or laugh factory. And then every other club around there is like a ha-ha. And no disrespect to the ha-ha. I love them. I get most of my stage time from there. But it's outside of the Hollywood bubble.
Mm-hmm.
And some places are like a ha-ha in Austin. Most places are like a jam in the van. Basically, that's what it is. It's like basically there's a bunch of Jam in a Van shows around Austin, and then you have Cap City. Fine, there's another comedy club. That would be like the Ha-Ha there or Sunset Strip. But because of that, there's all these young comics like door guys. There's not a middle class of comedians, and everybody is like a vampire sucking at blood. And and every time you go to Austin, it's like a comedy festival. There's people from New York. There's people from LA. There's people are always visiting Austin every single week. So it's almost like it has the same feel of a comedy festival. It's nonstop drinking. Everybody's partying. It seems like that's never going to end, and it's crazy. Like it's like you get warped, like sucked into it, and then you can feel people angling. You feel the business happening there, and you're like, what is going on? Like, this isn't fun. Everybody's
like
angling. Yeah, everybody's angling. Everybody's like, no. They're territorial. They're like, oh, he's here, he's trying to do that. Like, it's just, and I'm not going to get into the depth of what happened. I'll tell you off the show. But it's just like it's just crazy. I had enough signs in my life to tell me that I'll go there sometimes, but that ain't for me.
Okay. Did you do? I'm doing Cap City in August. Is that what you were doing, or you were doing?
Yeah, I did the upstairs room. Are you doing the downstairs?
The red room.
How do they say capacity?
75.
Yeah, upstairs.
Okay.
That's I posted a couple clips from there, and you could hear the main room going on while you're upstairs, and I'm just like, this is ridiculous, and I made it fun, and everybody had a blast, but like I had to adjust. So be aware of that. I don't know if they fixed it, but like you could hear the guy below talking on the mic and them getting laughs and stuff, and it would come through the wall upstairs, and you're like to a point where you like have to acknowledge it.
God.
And make it fun. But hope maybe when you're doing it, I don't know. Maybe it's different timing.
Yeah, I'm doing it late August. Hopefully they fix it. Yeah, I mean, did you go to the mothership at all? What's the vibe of that? It's just like huge.
No, it's not huge. It's the size of, the improv. You know what I mean? Like there's 2 rooms, maybe a little bit bigger. The second room's bigger. It's very, it's not welcoming. Like you got to know, like you got to like I don't know who you would know. Like I don't know if you would get in. Like that's how it is.
Like literally get in as perform or get in even physically?
Just to even get in. I don't know if you get in.
That's so weird.
Yeah, I mean, because there's not like there's a hangout place in the Mitzi's, but you can't hang out in the green room upstairs because the green room is shared between the 2 rooms, and maybe Rogan's in there. But Mitzi's, even getting into that bar, you can go there as a regular human from like 7 to 9, but after 10 o'clock, it's an exclusive bar for like friends and family. So like you could probably get in there if you know someone that like works there or someone that is there in town, but like I don't know who you know. You know what I mean? Like it's like that.
Damn. Okay,
yeah,
no,
and it's like, there's some toxic energy there, and I think that they're trying to figure that out and filter that out. They don't want that. I know that specifically because I know the GM there, and they don't want that. More toxic energy there than what I've experienced even at the Comedy Store when I was first starting out. Because the Comedy Store is so big.
I'm a little scared of the Comedy Store. Like that, the improv's so much more welcoming. Like I don't know where I'd even begin at the Comedy Store. Like I've done shows there, but like private shows versus like them booking, and it's like I don't know. I don't feel like I could go hang out there at all.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like that was my home club for years, and now I don't. Obviously, I feel like even I don't go hang out there. It's just like there's a lot of the thing is, you know why the Improv's more welcoming? Because there's people going in, there's a bar, and there's like everybody wants to be friendly. There's not a lot of people threatened by people there.
No, not at all.
That's the thing with the store and what's going on with the mothership. And, you know, that's the unfortunate thing that Rogan's not seeing. He's not seeing this. He's just like, look what I did. I built this. And I'm sure he's hearing about some of it, but like there's some people. Listen, there's also younger guys who have been doing comedy as long as you, or maybe less, that are like, their credit is I work at the mothership. And that to them is I'm on a sitcom. Like, they're walking around like that. That's what's crazy. And it's like the only thing I've ever been told in this business that stuck with me, and I always feed it to any other comedians, is like, man, this business is like the stock market. It goes up and down. And just cool, enjoy your high, but make sure when you're enjoying that high, don't be a piece of shit, man, because it's coming back down, and those people are going to remember that. They're going to remember any interaction.
There's gonna be times we have no shows, like nothing going on, like no prospects.
100%.
And you're gonna be like, I've had both of those like this year already. Like,
it's never gonna stop until you're like a household name, really.
And I'm sure that doesn't even stop. I'm sure like we're saying, there's always like
there's something else to worry about.
I'm like, oh wait, I'm doing theaters, but you know, Kevin Hart's doing stadiums. Am I gonna ever be doing stadiums?
100%. And also, you're the way you live is more. So you're like, you still, it's very hard because it's a drug, stand-up comedy, and then so is money. So even if you're making a lot of money, you're living better. So you're really still in the same situation where you're always chasing more money to keep up with the way you live.
Yeah.
Now, not everybody's like that. Good on them. But a lot of people just, they keep making more money, but they're in the same situation. They're still like, I only got 10% of it in my bank the whole 100%. Time. So,
yeah.
Well, man, way to make it awkward. I'm just
make it awkward. Whitney Cummings did.
Whitney Cummings did.
You're Whitney and I'm me. Oh no, are we talking sports? We could.
Well, you know what? It's unfortunate because we didn't get you on here during hockey, and we'll probably never really have full episodes about hockey.
I'm aware of that.
We spoke about hockey a couple times, like me and Anthony, and it was like, I was like, it's cool that the Panthers made it this far, but then it was like, what was it, 4-1?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like, that was cool. Well, how about this? It was great for South Florida hockey fans because they won the cup. What's the best record?
President's Trophy.
They won the President's Trophy last season and then got bounced out in the first round, and then they took out the President's Trophy this year. That was fulfilling. A very fun May, June for South Florida fans with the Heat and the
you
Panthers.
You got to beat Boston in 2 different sports.
Great time. We're going into football.
You got to be excited. I mean, as a Dolphins fan as well, I'm excited. Jalen Ramsey's huge.
I keep forgetting that we have to tell people that he's a fan of multiple teams, and it's okay. It's okay. I know it's weird, but Ryan has 3 teams, right?
Yep. I stick it just to 3.
Chicago, Miami, and the Steelers?
No, Bengals.
Bengals. Oh, that
bandwagon.
Hurts even more. Now, would you go out and say, like, would you confidently say Super Bowl or bust for the Bengals? Like, you think they're going?
Yes. While T. Higgins is still on the team, huge signing with Williams on the line. Williams? No, Orlando Brown.
From Kansas City.
Actually, honestly, Jamar Chase is such a generational talent. He's up there with any wide receiver you want to name. Mm-hmm. Like, as long as he's there with Joe, the O-line's decent. T. Higgins helps so much because you just have 2 top 10 wide receivers. But
you have 2. I would say you're in the top 5 dual wide receivers. Not number 1, but you're top 5.
I forgot what my opinion used to be. Did we argue about whether I think I said they were better than Waddle and Hill.
That's not true. because
think you got
because
more
Waddle
diversity
is ranked
with
higher than T Higgins on everyone's board. It's just hands down.
on what,
He had
fantasy board?
uh, statistically, year by year, fantasy board and rankings. Waddle is ranked like number 19, number 8, number like 20 is actually like it's like Devontae Smith, Brandon Ayuk. Like those are number 2s. Waddle is the best number 2 wide receiver in the NFL.
Okay,
T
but
Higgins
as
is
an offensive coordinator, I think I wanted Jamar and Higgins. Who's your jump ball guy? Who's your end zone guy? You can't give it up to either of those. Those are the shortest wide receivers in the league.
well, that's what for tight ends in the red zone. I mean, we're not throwing 60-yard bombs there because they're wide open if they're doing a 60-yard bomb.
They do the
Those are
T
fast.
Higgins like corner routes, and it's like a no-brainer. They
I
said it's
think
an
we
80-20
have
ball.
those
That was like his
guys.
whole thing.
They're just not stars for those packages, but that's not the way Mike McDaniel runs his offense anyways. He's not doing jump balls. That's why we got rid of Devontae Parker, and Mike Gesicki. We're like, that's not what we shoot for. We want speed, cuts, slots, screens. I'm just saying, I even, to be honest, I got to be real. I love Jamar Chase, but Jamar Chase on his own isn't more powerful to me than Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Like that duo, I rather have. If I have to take two,
So you're saying you can't just have Jamar and anyone else. You have to
Jamar
have
and anyone
someone
else is
good.
great, but it's not as good as like Devontae Smith had an unbelievable Super Bowl, and so did A.J. Brown. Like they're great together. And then what about Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk in San Francisco? That's a great duo. I would say that's
that team's the
equivalent.
best team. Like,
What?
The Niners are. I thought they were the best team in football, and obviously had the insane NFC Championship with no quarterback. But
there's a lot of great two wide receivers in the league, but there's only like 5 teams that really have it. I mean, like you could argue the Chargers maybe, but they're out of the top 5. But to me, it's Eagles, 49ers, Bengals, Miami, and I'm trying to think. I don't know who the number 2 guy is in Minnesota, but it's not them because there's not a number 2 guy.
Well, they just drafted one, and they got rid of Thielen.
Yeah, so we don't know. Outside of that,
And then we'll see about Seattle.
Oh, DK.
Because they got JSN and they have Metcalf.
And then you have Diggs, but they never added another person there to be as good as a number 2 as the other guys. That's all.
Gabe Davis is good. Like that's up there.
But he's not in the same. He's not a T Higgins or Waddle or Devontae Smith.
I'll say if you add up the rankings of 2 wide receivers, you won't get a lower number than the Miami Dolphins. So I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, you can't. I just. Well, the thing is, statistically, Waddle had the best season for a number 2 wide receiver. That's why he had the most receiving yards and touchdowns. So, will that carry over to this year? I think this year he has a chance to become one of the highest paid wide receivers after this year going in and make the Dolphins in a situation where like, oh no,
So let's jump to Dolphins.
Okay.
How are you feeling about the offseason adjustments? Do you think the running game is going to be the same?
I wanted to land a huge right tackle, and we didn't, but they added some vet. They brought in 2 lineman vets to go in with what we already had. We have 3 guys that are good. Robert Hunt, Connor Williams is going to supposedly move from center to guard. Robert Hunt maybe goes to right tackle. They have a center, and then your left guard is Austin Jackson, Eichenberg, and then you have Armstead at left tackle. I don't know. I think they'll just play the top 5 guys, but they have 3 that are for sure professional football players that are going to be in the league for a long time, and then you have 2 guys competing with 4. So that is what it is. It's not like he's going to be in the pocket for 5 seconds, and I don't, I think he does have some great pocket presence, but ideally they're going to be running the ball a lot more this year, and I think they'll stick to what they were doing, getting the ball out of his hand as quick as possible so that he's not in situations where he can get hurt. I believe that they will get Dalvin Cook. That's the thing. And then
we've been waiting on that.
You're adding that too. Because there's no reason to. There's no rush. They send him an offer, and they're like, well, go see what the market is, and then if you get a better offer, we'll match it. That's what's happening right now, supposedly.
I think that's a good call. You've seen all the running back drama today, all the guys tweeting.
Yeah.
Like that. I mean, that's where the opinion lies. Is like, do you want an older guy that was really good? Older as in like 28 or whatever Dalvin Cook is. Like it's not even old.
I mean, it's not even old, but it's like the thing is, it's just not fair because, unfortunately, these running backs coming out of college are just ready to go. That's what's hurting them. It's not about the league not. It's just like, hey, we used to have to keep paying a running back from 28 to 33 because a 21, 22, 23-year-old guy wasn't really ready.
Now
if that makes sense.
No, it's nothing. Like Kenneth Walker just was like, yeah, I'm gonna be the best. Breece Hall, I'm gonna be sick. Like,
yeah,
and they were just ready to go, and they were top, at least fantasy performers. But like, yeah, I think that's a good point. It's like they're not. It's not their fault. It's the fault of they don't need them in big contracts anymore.
And I don't think they're gonna win this argument complaining about it online. You know,
where has Eckler gone anywhere? Is he holding out, or what's his deal?
Good question.
I thought he was up for grabs.
No, I think maybe that was something last year. I can't really look on here right now. I'm trying to upgrade this real quick so that it doesn't cancel out.
Oh.
In time. But fuck it. I'll just start it over. I don't want to. If it goes out in 2 minutes, I'll just re-record. Like I'll keep recording on here and then just edit it later. Okay. By the way, yeah, I don't know. Eckler's playing. It's just there's 3 guys out there. Elliott, Saquon, I believe is like Jacobs and Cook. Jacobs, no, they. Oh yeah, so Jacobs is holding out right now.
Yeah, I just was reading today. Like he was like, he's not reporting to practice until he signs something. But I think he's just gonna sign.
He wants to sign an extension because they didn't give him. They franchise tagged him last year, correct?
Yeah.
Or they didn't sign, or maybe no. I'm sorry. This would be his 4th year. So they didn't pick up his 5th year. That's what it was. They didn't pick up his 5th year, which will be next year, and now, or that will be, and this is his 4th year. This is going to be his 4th year, Jacobs, and they didn't pick up the 5th year option, which now they're regretting, the Raiders, because he had the best year last year. So now, instead of playing this year, he's like, give me a long. He doesn't want to go into free agency because why would he? Because he's seeing what's happening right now. So he's like, I don't need to play. Why play for the Raiders right now when you assume they're going to be the worst team in the division? It seems like.
You think they're going to be worse than the Broncos?
Oh, dude, I just can't. I can't keep up with like editing podcasts and this and stand up and creating content.
And then you're going to go on tour all.
Yeah, that's where I'm like.
Fall.
Yeah.
Can't do it. You're filming a special in December. You can't do all that.
Yeah, and I gotta like pay attention to that. I gotta like put together, like, you know what, I'm doing 2 shows, and I hope that I shoot. You know, I hope I can get 45 minutes. That I'm like, this is great, even if it's 30. Yeah, I'm just like, oh, cool, this is great. Ideally, it'd be great if I have an hour, but we'll see what is polished. I did it to make myself stop fucking around because I fuck around on stage a lot. So I figure on tour, then I'll just diligently do an hour, and like I'll try not to do crowd work, but like here's these jokes, polish them and go, because everybody's doing the crowd work thing, but you got to stand out and be like, well, I can do the bits. Anyone can do crowd work. Bits are hard.
That's the whole thing. Like
that's the art. The art of stand-up comedy is.
My crowd work was doing better than some bits in my headline show, and it sucked.
It happens. It's always going to do better because it's in the moment. And people love it.
And I was like, God, come on. Me?
We left off with running backs, right?
That guy, that's hilarious to you? Like, ugh.
Kind of, you know. It is because it's just like they're there. Yeah. It is naturally funnier. Now, to people who like enjoy the art of stand-up, they might be like, they might understand it a little bit more.
Yeah, I definitely respect really good go with the flow comedians. Like, I think you're great at go with the flow, your crowd work, and then you like kind of like go into a bit off of it. Like, yeah,
I like to do that too, but I think you have to show that you can put together an act. I think you have to show that, and then that will, if I do that, it gives me the ability to be like, all right, now I can go play, clip it, let's see what happens, grow an audience, and like let's go play and build another act. But like but even, I like to go with the flow when I shoot those things. Like there's no pressure on me. This isn't Amazon or Netflix. This is just going to be shot and it's probably going to go on YouTube. And I get to choose how it's edited. So I'll go with the flow in it and just try to put bits together and edit around it,
Yeah, I am excited for it. I want to help too because I filmed a special and it's not that I'm an expert, but like it's good to like bounce ideas off someone. I didn't have anyone, and it's
when you filmed it, who shot it?
Independent company called 4x3 in Ohio.
And they paid for it.
They paid for it. They filmed it on a Red and then a couple floating cameras, and then they put it on their YouTube, and it did well.
That's where you got most of your followers from.
Yeah. Well, actually the clips from it.
Oh, but so then nothing happened from the post.
No, I mean, it got a lot of views. I can't really tell who came straight from. It kind of seemed like the views on the special came from the clips.
Oh, the people saw the clips and then went and watched it.
Yeah, that's kind of what.
So it's like you did it all.
Yeah, but I think that's like nothing's easy. Like that's just what it's gonna be.
Yeah, yeah.
Worst case scenario for you is like your special is like a series of clips that you can post.
Yeah, that's the. In my mind, I'm like, what's a number in my head? Like, first of all, I'll figure, like, I'll see what options there are. Mm-hmm. I'm in a position where if someone wants to give you a large amount of money for it, I'll take it as long as I have ownership of the clips. Am I going to sell it? Like if Comedy Central YouTube was like, hey, we'll give you $20,000 for it, but we own it. I wouldn't do that because that would do nothing for me.
That would do nothing.
It just wouldn't sell. It's just like nobody's like, hey man, we came to the show. We saw your Comedy Central. It's just like, it's just not the game anymore. So,
I think it'll be good for you to have. Here's my hour, but like in reality, it's just clip game still. I think it's going to be clip game for a really long time.
Yeah, I think that it's for. I think it's good to show like, hey, I can put together an act. It's not just crowd work.
Yeah, and
then
obviously can
with whatever you do, and maybe I think there's a window where we're in a situation where there's people who have huge YouTubes that can present a comic special. I think that's a world we're entering where so and so presents Michael Lenoci's special on their YouTube channel. I don't 100%. Know who's open to it, but I think that you're going to start seeing that happen. Whether it's Bad Friends or Your Mom's House. If someone was like, hey, would you rather have your hour special or half hour special or 45-minute special on Netflix or Your Mom's House? I'm picking Your Mom's House tomorrow. I'm like, that's going to help me sell tickets like that.
Dude, accessibility is huge.
YouTube's going to get, Netflix is just going to get lost.
Yeah.
But if you had it on Your Mom's House page that has millions of subscribers to a famous comedian, that's way better opportunity.
Direct to consumer, it's way better than people that have to search and look for it and find it. Have it be presented to them from a group they're already following. They're already on that page.
Yeah. So it's like it seems like we're approaching that. It just makes sense to me, and I don't see why someone like that wouldn't do it for a comedian because they're like, well, it's just free content that will get a bunch of views and maybe other people will come to our channel to be like, hey, we present a bunch of young comics on here.
Yeah. You just have to fit their brand, whatever it is.
I mean, do you? Like whatever it is, it's like Don't Tell has their thing, but like it's a bunch of comedians that they're picking, whatever that is. But like, does it have to be specific to that? Like Your Mom's House is a studio. It's not Tom Segura's YouTube page. Like that would be more specific to his brand. But Your Mom's House Studio has a podcast. It's a huge podcast that's had thousands of or hundreds of comedian guests on there. So it's already been built off of their funny show that's have comedians on there. So why not? Which I think they've also produced other podcasts on that channel.
think so. I think that'd be a smart move. Built-in
Yeah, I
audience
mean, it's
is
just
good.
finding someone that would do it for you. That's the thing. I think that would be a fun option to explore.
I like that.
So before that, we're talking about the running backs.
Broncos. We left off on Broncos.
Okay. Oh yeah, we did. We got past the running backs. We were talking about the Broncos. Here's my theory about the Broncos. Okay, last year. This is my whole theory, and I went over this with Anthony. Anthony has a little Raider inside. You know, his dad works for the team.
Oh,
I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but whatever. The Raiders last year went 6-11. Okay. The Chargers went, if I'm not mistaken, I could pull it up. I believe they went 11-6. Dolphins went or the Chargers went 10-7. The Chiefs went 13-4. Or 14-3. Might have been 14. Chiefs went wild, right?
Yeah.
14-3. Chargers go 10-7. They get the 6th seed because Dolphins are the 7th, and the 5th seed was they got the 5th seed. The Ravens went 10-7. Maybe the Chargers went 11-6. Let me just pull it up for the sake of it. For the sake of this, I should just pull it up because it makes sense what I'm saying. Okay, NFL standings. There they are. They went 10-7. Okay, so here was the playoff picture. 10-7 Chargers Baltimore. Okay, so for the division, this is my point I'm talking about. Chiefs went 14-3. Crazy. Chargers 10-7. Vegas 6-11. Denver 5-12. That's last year. Horrible year for Russell Wilson. Horrible year. The worst year of his career.
Easily.
New start. Coach obviously didn't know what he was doing. Fire the coach. Vegas. Slow start. Built some momentum there. Got some fun wins. Sometimes it looked like, hey, they have a thing here. Carr's out. Clearly McDaniel wasn't. They bring in Garoppolo. That's already going to be better, right? Because they brought Garoppolo, right? It's better than Carr, even though I feel like they're comp. I feel like they're the same.
That's what I was going to say. I don't know how much better.
Is it one game better? Don't you think the chemistry between Garoppolo and McDaniels is one win better? Is it
one win better? But, I thought the chemistry between college teammates Carr and Davante Adams was going to be better.
I think you have Davante Adams. Listen, the one shot. If people are saying that Tua isn't great and it's just Tyreek Hill, then the same could be said about Davante Adams. It doesn't matter who's back there; he's going to be good.
He's going to be good. So
you could argue that, but your theory could be correct that they definitely have chemistry. But I would say Carr has a stronger arm. Now, getting to the Denver thing, 5-12. That's really as worse as it can get. It's very hard to go 4-13. Who went 4-13? Basically, Colts, disaster. They went
Texans.
Texans went 3-14. Yeah, but they had the tie. I mean, you're talking about the number 1 overall pick. With the amount of talent that Denver has, would we agree they're not going to go 4-13?
Yeah, I would hope so.
Okay, so then would we agree that at the very least, let's say they brought the same exact team back with the same coach, they would go 5-12 again? Then we could agree that that's true, right? But that's not true. What they did do is bring in Sean Payton. Would you agree that Sean Payton is as valuable as 2 wins?
Yeah. Yes.
So then if he's 2 wins, that puts Denver at 7-10. That's all I'm saying.
This is like a discussion I would have with like my brother when I was a kid. Like breaking down step by step why I'm wrong.
Yeah. Well, it's not why you're wrong. It's why I want everyone to know why I actually think the Chargers are a team that is going to be shocked this year and not make the playoffs. That's my theory. That's why
what
I
I will
have
say is
this
I think you're definitely right. Everything you brought up, I think, is correct. So you're saying Chargers get shocked? I mean,
Here's my
they had a
thing.
rough year with that. Keenan Allen's out the whole year until the end.
Everybody
They
has
had
injuries.
the
That's
most
true.
injuries on defense you could ever imagine.
Here's the
I
thing.
would be surprised if they got worse. They
The
got rid of
Chargers.
Staley.
You'd be surprised if the Chargers got worse. Now, agree, but hear me out. This is the first year where you have 12 teams. You have 12 teams in the AFC. There's 16 teams in each conference. 12 teams in the AFC right now, today. The GM, the head coach, and most of the players on 12 teams right now are going, we have a chance to make the Super Bowl. That's the first time that's ever happened. We can go through the list. The Chiefs think that. Agree. Bills think that. Cincinnati thinks that. The Chargers think that. Baltimore thinks that. Jacksonville sure as hell thinks that. Miami thinks that. The Jets think that. And the Browns think that. That's 9 teams. So there's 9 teams that for sure think that. Then you might have delusional teams that think they're making the playoffs, like Pittsburgh and New England. Why not? They were right there. They were both 8-9 and 9-8, one game out of the playoffs. They both think that they should improve, right? Everybody thinks they should improve. So they think they can make the playoffs. That puts you up to 11. And then you have Vegas, Denver, Indianapolis, Houston, and Tennessee. Tennessee just got Hopkins. They have to think that's a weak division that they can make the playoffs. So Houston, Indianapolis, and Denver, and I don't think Denver thinks that they're going to be bad. I think Houston and Indianapolis are the only 2 teams who are like, well, we're rebuilding. That's it.
I think you nailed it. Like
that's what's crazy.
Only 2.
That's
Denver's
what's
gonna
crazy.
have this inflated Sean Payton ego for sure. Of like,
so I do
fixed.
believe that Sean Payton is. Listen, I think he's a great coach. I think he had Drew Brees for a while, but I think he's worth 2 wins. I don't see the Broncos being worse than 7-10. Now you could go look up their over/under. I don't have it on me right now. That's why we need Anthony here. But I think if they're over/under, I would probably bet that it's 7. It could be 6. It could, if it's 8, that's scary. I don't even know what to do because they could win 8. If it's 7, I would take the over. I would think that they can win 7 games. With his second year there, he's more calm, away from the drama. I just think that. So if Denver goes 7-10, and Vegas has to improve a game, and they go 7-10, doesn't that mean that division is a little bit more difficult and competitive? That you have to take out some wins from Kansas City and the Chargers?
Yeah, 100%. And I think Kansas City got way weaker losing Brown.
But did they? Because they had like 8 rookies on that team last year, and they won the Super Bowl.
Oh, I mean, but O-line is a different story. You need your best O-line.
Yeah.
Mahomes could throw to a street pigeon and they would have a good stat sheet. Like it doesn't matter. Like,
did you watch The Quarterback on Netflix yet?
No, not yet. I think it's funny. It's a funny idea.
It's great.
Have the best and then have Marcus Mariota.
That's
great. Crazy.
I don't think they knew that. I mean, they don't know that because they just picked this. Obviously, you'll see they start before the season, so they have no idea how it's like how any of these 3 guys are going to go, and Kirk Cousins. And they got lucky with Kirk Cousins.
They couldn't have picked a better group. Like
they got so lucky with the Kirk Cousins thing because just his season and their whole season was very entertaining. And you love Kirk Cousins. By the end of it, you're just like, man, I hope this guy wins, but he just won't. Like there's no like he could because they're in the NFC, but like he's such a likable guy. He's a guy you want to cheer for. He's a good guy. And then when you watch the Mahomes thing. Like, just, I don't know if they did this on purpose, and this is not a spoiler, but the way they show Mahomes working out and doing his things, they don't show that really with Kirk. They show him like kind of like doing some other things, and Mariota, it's not the same shit. Like the way Mahomes has this personal trainer and the way he's training, you're like, oh, this guy's he's like, I heard that Tom Brady did this, so I did it. You know what I mean? Like taking care of my body. You're like, and then you're watching him work out and how hard he works out. You're like, oh, this guy's like LeBron James. He's putting the work in nonstop. He's got a notepad. He's not at one of those award shows. He's just taking notes, like watching film. Like this guy is an ultimate competitor. And there's no doubt in my mind he wins 4 Super Bowls, at least. And he got
I
2.
just feel like they probably just didn't show that because I'm sure Kirk Cousins working out. That's like the hardest sport in the world. Like,
Yeah, I mean, he's taking care of
probably
his
just did that
body.
instead of
He's doing like
ridiculous.
the cold plunge, but like maybe because he's a little bit older, and Mahomes is like 26. But like the drills Mahomes is doing is just like incredible. It just maybe they did, but like you watch Mahomes and it's hard to hate him. Like it's hard to like be mad even if he wins. You're like, you know what? I like that I got to see that part of him that you didn't get to see with Brady or any. I'm excited that they keep doing this every year, and I assume they are. I assume they have their 3 quarterbacks they're going to follow this year, and if they're smart, they would do Tua. They have to, just with the history of what happened. It'd be great if they did Tua.
Joe.
They're not going to do Aaron Rodgers because he's already on Hard Knocks, so HBO owns that. But if you had to pick 3 other quarterbacks to do it with, Dak.
Hurts the year after a Super Bowl loss. That's great.
That is right. That's true. Tua the year after the concussions. And
Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow's everyone's favorite player. He's like the world's favorite player.
I just feel like I feel like the way they did it was they picked the superstar, so Burrow, and then they picked a guy who is like bouncing around, not necessarily is a bouncing from team to team. So that would be maybe Carr on the Saints.
Carr would be a good one. Dalton is he done?
He's not going to start, right?
Yeah.
No. Where is he? Washington? Where did he go?
I think so. Carson Wentz.
I don't think he's going to start, though. It's got to be someone who moved somewhere and is going to start. I mean, Garoppolo is a perfect guy with the Raiders.
Yeah, if it was like
it's got to be a guy like that because that's why they did it with Mariota. They're like, all right, he just left the Raiders and he came here to like it's his last chance to be a starter. That's kind of what the thing with him was. So who's on their last chance to be a starter? You would say Garoppolo, Carr, and it could be a Geno Smith even.
No, I think you could pick your 3. My 3 would be Garoppolo, Hurts, Fields. I think that'd be the most interesting.
Sure. That would be very interesting, but if I'm going to stick to their script, superstar, 12-year vet who's like on a good team who has a chance to win, and then a guy who's on his last turn. So it'd be like Burrow or Herbert or Hurts. Tannehill, Garoppolo, or Carr.
Tannehill would be a good one, but he doesn't like doing that stuff.
He doesn't?
No, he's not a media guy.
Yeah, he's not. He's
He was
fine.
the one who said he
fine.
wouldn't even practice with Malik Willis.
Really?
Yeah, last year they're like, you excited? They drafted a quarterback. You gonna help mentor him? He's like, no, not my job. He's like, my job's to play football, win games. And they're like, all right.
That's not a good way. Is he starting this year? Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I love Tannehill.
Who'd they draft? They drafted someone, no?
They got Will Levis, 2nd round.
Yeah, so he's right around the corner, starting if they start slow. But I mean, I just think Tannehill starts if they got Hopkins.
Yeah, 100%.
They need someone
They're
to
not going to throw a rookie yet. They're not going to do this big Hopkins deal and then put a rookie QB.
I think Hopkins going to Tennessee is a big deal, man. I think I think that makes everybody 2 weeks ago was saying this is the Jags division. It's theirs.
I mean, Vrabel's too good. What happened last year? Tannehill got hurt. That was it. Malik Willis had to play in the playoffs.
Tannehill got hurt, but then they didn't have wide receivers. He had no wide receivers.
Robert Woods was a bust, unfortunately. Got hurt.
But I believe Derrick Henry had a great season. He was having a good season, right?
Derrick Henry?
Yeah. Yeah, there he was, second in rushing.
When you lose the quarterback, it becomes too obvious that it's the Derrick Henry show, and then it's they plan for it pretty well. Yeah,
I mean, I think he missed a couple games and still had 1,500 yards rushing. This offense is still going to be explosive.
He's the best in the league. It's crazy. He's unreal. Like I'm very when I talk about best,
and he's 29.
Yeah,
he's 29 now.
Like my big thing is who's the best wide receiver? Devontae Adams. Who's the best running back? Derrick Henry.
Derrick
what about
Henry.
Justin Jefferson's season? Yeah, I like to look at it in like 5-year spans, like
Well,
3-year spans.
that's a
Even. It's like,
perfect way you
these
put
guys
it.
have
In
been top
5 years,
for so long.
in 5 years, Derrick Henry has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,000 yards in 5 years.
Yeah.
Rushing.
Oh, but what about JT last year, 2 years ago? What about Jacobs last year? What about Chubb? No, it's still Derrick Henry. Like,
He has one of the greatest 5-year spans, really.
absolutely.
Ran
Devontae
for
Adams, same
2,000.
deal. It's like, sure, Jefferson best season last year, no doubt. Is he?
But so did,
Of course.
I mean,
And if he
only
does it
90
for
yards
2
more
more
than
years,
Tyreek.
then I'll change my story. But like, it's still Devontae Adams. He's older and doing this and putting up insane numbers on
He's
every
only
team
30,
he's on.
3 years in a row. But it used to be way more like when you would look at T.O. and Randy Moss go at it, you're like, whoa. I will say this. Looking at Justin Jefferson, probably one of the best starts to a career ever.
Oh, it's crazy.
It's 1,400 yards rookie year, 1,600 yards year 2, 1,800 yards year 3.
That's crazy.
It would take too much to pull up, but I would like to see those first 3 years next to Randy Moss, Terrell Owens, Chris Carter, and Jerry Rice. I guarantee you it's, if not the best, but very similar. That could be the best start ever.
I know he has a record for like catches, and he broke some record for like rookie catches, I think.
If I look at Tyreek's his whole career, his rookie year he has 600 yards receiving. After that, 1,100 yards. Basically 1,200, 1,400 yards. Injury year, only 860. Last 3 years, 1,200, 1,200, 1,700. Both
Pretty
of these
damn good.
guys, and he's 29. Derrick Henry and Tyreek Hill could pass the 10,000 mark this year. Pretty impressive. And then the running backs that want to get paid. Barkley. Outside of the 2 banged up years, he's good.
No, he's absolutely good. He's only 25 or 26 now.
Yeah. Chubb. Chubb's had dude, this is the most consistent guy. 4 years in a row over 1,000 yards, 1,500 yards twice in 4 years.
And he's not that injury prone.
He's only 27. This guy doesn't get enough credit
The Chubbster.
because he's on the Browns.
He's on the Browns' most despicable franchise.
Are you a fantasy guy?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Were you in my fantasy league last year? No. Okay, so now I got to make a new one specific with these young comics I know now because it's fun because I can have. So that means my old fantasy league that I have to kick out 2 players. That I'm like, you know what? I don't really see them.
I'm already in 3 leagues. I don't know if I need to be in more. So you don't have to kick out anyone.
No, you're gonna have to leave one of those other ones. You got to be in this one. For the sake of the show.
How are you to trade with? What are you? Do you trade a lot?
I trade when no, not if I'm winning. I trade when I get if I'm sitting there, like if I'm 0-3, if I'm 1-4, if I get to if I'm even 2-3, I'll talk about trade. But if I'm like 4-2, I'm like, let me play this out a little bit. Like, you know what I mean? It depends. Depends what the offer is. It varies. I'm in 2 leagues, and I could do a third. I don't like to. I like to keep it with 2. But I have one with
so much last year.
What? Yeah, 3's a lot. So I understand you're in 3 and you're not going to do 4. But that's why I was like, which of those 3 can't be all your best friends from growing up? Obviously, one's
no. I could leave one, and I would like to leave another.
So then the one you can leave, you should leave. Like my whole thing is this. The league I started, I have it every year. It's everyone I know or see regularly. That's how I want it. I want it to be like, so I think this year I have my 2 best friends are in it. I'm in this other one that's with high school, college guys that it's been going on for 12, 15 years. Then I got this one. I got 2 buddies on the outside that don't know everyone on the inside, but then the rest is comics, which I forget, like Danny Jollis, what's his name? Nelson in San Diego who runs the shows. Jack. Why am I blanking on his name? Wow, I feel like Fraser right now. Just like, but there's comics. There's just comics on it that we would see around. But there's more I can make. I can make a better fantasy league with people we'd see on a regular basis, like every day. Like I think that's the most important way to have a fantasy league is like, oh, I see these guys 3 times a week.
You need the chatter. It's all about like,
yeah, or like
and drama.
You need it to a point where you can at least have 7 guys in a group chat that all know each other.
Yes, and you roast each other. But I don't have an iPhone, so you're not gonna like that.
Well, you know what though? Then that's fine. Then it moves over to Facebook.
It's a Facebook group chat.
It's a Facebook group chat, and that's fine. What else? Anything else, or do you want to wrap up here?
I think I'm good.
Good. Yeah, we're tired. Yeah, we said our piece. All right. Anything else, Ryan? You want us to say anything stand-up wise?
Stand-up wise? No, come to my show. I have a show, Austin, Texas.
What's your date at Austin, Texas one?
25th, 26th, Friday, Saturday.
Of this month?
No, August.
August. Okay.
That's my only road date.
And they give you a hotel?
No. Wait, no, they give me a hotel, they don't give me travel.
No, yeah, travel, but you'll be fine. You'll move some tickets, and do you know anyone out there?
Yeah, I know some people. I'm gonna start posting clips. I feel like it'll be easier to get people to come to Austin than Tempe.
I'm saying, do you know comics out there?
No.
So you don't know who you're gonna have open for you.
I think I'm gonna have. Do you know Ben Hurwitz?
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna have him come in. He's my friend, and he's funny. He does a good 20.
Great. That's awesome.
I'm gonna have him come in. I don't know who's gonna host. Do they provide a host?
Yeah, they'll provide it. Make sure you tell them that he's coming, because I didn't tell them. I have before with that guy, and I didn't tell them, and they booked a show, and I had to have like 5 comics on the goddamn show because I didn't want to kick off the people they booked. So I just said, hey, just give everyone 10, because I felt bad, but I had brought 2 people. So
you did like 2. It was like a 2-hour show.
I think I only did like 45, 50 on that one, but like I had like 40 minutes before me. I mean, I'm just not going to kick off the people they booked because, I just felt bad.
Yeah.
It was my mistake too. I should have emailed 3 weeks out and said, hey, I'm bringing the show. So just make sure you stay on top of that, because that's how you learn. You learn, and then you're like, okay.
Do that tomorrow. I'll be like, hey, I'm bringing this guy. You can bring a host though.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, there's plenty of hosts out there.
That's all I need to plug for any Austin people.
All right, we'll get you on here again soon. When Anthony gets back too, it'll be a little bit more organized and stuff. But I appreciate you always, dude. And I don't think I'll see you for a while because we're both gonna be traveling a lot. So.
Damn, that's too bad.
Yeah.
All right, well, keep in touch. Thanks.
It's too bad, but we're always a text away. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Big bro.
All right, bud.